Today we are in Oklahoma City at a place that might look familiar to some of you. We are at what is the former Chesapeake Employee Community Garden that has now been resurrected by the Lynn Institute. And joining me today is Jordan Davis, who is the Director of Community Gardens for the Lynn Institute. Jordan, thank you so much for having us here. And I got to tell you, last time I drove by, it was full of weeds. Tell me a little bit about the Lynn Institute and how they got involved in this.
Yeah, so Lynn Institute is leasing this area from Chesapeake, formerly Chesapeake, which is now Expand Energy. So we have a 5-year lease, and Expand is kind of helping us keep up with some of the stuff around here, but we are helping turn the beds into something that we can use for food distribution around the city. So when I got here, I was hired about 16 months ago to kind of oversee the operation and have the vision for the area. And so when we came in, it had kind of been abandoned because of COVID. You know, people hadn't been out here much. There were weeds 6, 8 feet tall, sunflowers, things I just volunteered from when they were growing things previously. So we had to come through initially and knock it all down, kind of clear the land, you know, get it ready for something that we could do. And then we started planting.
And you found some good bones under here,
Yes,
right? I mean, that
good,
was the thing about this garden, is it was really built to last. And so you've got these nice concrete raised beds that you have transformed, basically. So tell me a little bit about the overall vision of this place.
Yeah, so we have kind of a few different things that are happening in here. You know, Lynn Institute started out as a healthcare research with Integris, and now they do more boots on the ground kind of stuff. So for the last few years, we've been doing a lot of education classes, cooking classes, nutrition classes, dietitian classes, kind of helping get resources to areas where it's needed. And then so this, when COVID happened and people started needing more food, Lynn stepped in and started doing food distribution where we were buying it from suppliers wholesale. And when this became available, you know, Pam Patty was a dietitian and master gardener who kind of saw the space and went knocking on doors, and she connected the Lynn Institute here.
Okay.
And
so she was a gardener that
yes.
saw an opportunity for Lynn Institute.
Yeah, and something that was just sitting here that had a lot of opportunity.
As a dietitian in the community, that's always my role, is to try to educate people. So to say, how do you garden, as well as why do you garden, and if you have healthy food, can that translate into people being healthier in the community? And when it's proximity, we don't have to travel, we don't have to let the food have any challenges. You come out, you grow it, you harvest it, you eat it within proximity, and then you have this opportunity that most times we don't get. We go to a grocery store, right? We don't know it came from California, it came from Florida. Right in our own backyard here, we can have this gorgeous food that's really, and I think Caleb and Jordan have shown the productivity is here. The amount of food that can be grown out of here is fantastic.
There's a couple quadrants here that we're using for production. So we're doing more urban farm style production. That way we can feed as many people as possible. And then the other area is more of like a hands-on place that people can come volunteer. That way they can learn, and we try to just loop everything in, like education, into everything that we do.
And is anybody able to come out here and volunteer, or are you working with specific groups?
Yeah, right now we have Tuesdays and Thursday mornings that are available for people to come volunteer. And then we do usually a Saturday every month. We're not going to do it in the fall, but in the spring we'll pick back up.
And so what's the best way for people to find out information if they wanted to get involved in this?
I'd say just go to our website, lynninstitute.org,
Okay.
and on there there'll be a garden page, and they can reach out to us via email. We can kind of loop them in that way, have them out for a tour if they want to see the place, and then figure out how to get them involved.
And I think what we're trying to do here is to bring in partner agencies that we work with and to see how can they utilize the beds for some of the programming that they're doing. So the Indian Health Clinic, we're getting ready to meet with them. They've already come out a couple of times, and we'd love to have a couple of the beds for them to do their programming. They do a turtle camp in the summer. How can we allow people to use, like you said, it's already here, the infrastructure is already set. How can other people come in and benefit from it?
So we have a few different places we distribute to around the city, and so we'll harvest it here. We usually do once or twice a week. We've kind of built out the infrastructure, so even though this came with a bunch of sheds, we still had to build out wash stations and things like that, but that way we can kind of process everything on site and then get it to where they need to go, and it stays fresh. You know, it doesn't sit around for a few days on a truck or anything like that.
All right. Do you need volunteers also for all of that processing? And
that
everything?
we're hoping to turn into more of like an apprenticeship.
Okay.
So if people want to learn how to do more urban farming, we'd love to have people kind of do more of an extensive course, but that's in the works.
So I know part of uncovering this garden, you found this beautiful courtyard that was pre-existing as well.
Yeah, when they originally built this area, they put in these huge stone columns and a pergola as kind of a nice gathering place for people. And, you know, a lot of that stuff is kind of, you know, not
Needs
been around
maintenance,
anymore.
right?
Yeah. Yes, and so what we're going to do is revitalize the courtyard area. We're going to put the pergola back up that kind of came down, as well as adding a few features like a water fountain and a fire pit as well.
Okay.
And then we'll surround the courtyard area with native flowers, native fruit trees, something that kind of ties the whole garden together. And then we've also got espalier trees that are kind of walkways, and the walkways that we're kind of bringing back to life, revitalizing that. And so long term, we'll just have it as a beautiful place that people can come and do events. We'll continue to do our education classes in those areas, as well as have a place that people can just come and enjoy the beauty of, creation and what we're doing here.
My heart is to have food demonstrations out here, to have cooking demonstrations out here, to have kids out here, because that's the generation that's going to pull it forward. Kids are very receptive to things. I think we have to really work on the parents. They're the ones, oh, we don't eat that. But the kids are like, yeah, that was good, Mom. So if we can try to have the family dynamic that says, hey, kids, parents, community building, and so everybody gets a chance to say, hey, we want to be a part of what this is going forward.
Well, you definitely have a big project ahead of you, and this is just your first season that you've transformed this place, so we look forward to following up with you again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.